Hey guys, welcome back to another video with me. Today I'm going to be doing a book review on Death Row by Freida McFadden. So, I don't really have a rating for this because all I can say is I was shell-shocked. The ending was just... it's hard to explain what the ending was. So let's dive into this really quickly. This is my second Kindle read. This was only small. This was about 73 pages. So this was a tiny. I didn't realise when I downloaded it that it was that small. But it is. So it's a thriller. I started this on the 7th of June. And I finished it on the 7th of June. It took me about half an hour, 40 minutes to finish this book. So this is probably the shortest book that I've ever read, because it's about 70 pages and about half an hour long. The year that this was published was 2025. It was published on the 1st of June 2025. So this is about a week to about 2 weeks old. So yeah, I mean, I read this book on my Kindle. I wasn't aware about the fact that it was about 70 pages long until I looked at the page numbers on my Kindle. And obviously I also looked at the time at the bottom that said how long it would take me to read. And I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty small. But this, I think I'm going to make a D for my alphabet reading challenge. Only because this is the first D that I've read of the challenge, so I think that I will include this as my D for my A to Z reading challenge. But yes, I'm unsure how to rate this book because, like, we have, I don't know if I'm able to find a kind of a synopsis for this book. No. Okay, I still haven't figured out how to use my Kindle properly. So I'm just gonna try and go back to the cover. Oh, yeah. No. Okay. It doesn't have kind of like a blurb at the beginning or anything. So essentially, this is about a girl. If I can remember what her name is, let me just have a little flick through. Talia Kemper. It's about her, and we kind of go through the story believing that she has killed her husband and she's on death row for it. That is how the story begins. I will probably end up giving spoilers because there is no other way for me to explain this. So if you don't want spoilers for this book, please skip because this book is small enough that I need to explain. So Talia goes through the book. Essentially what we get is the idea that her husband has been killed, and Freida McFadden has a way of going back in time to look at the character and how she got to that point. And so we have a lot of that because Freida is very famous for going back in time and kind of building up to the why we're here. And so we figure out why Talia is on death row. And it is a little confusing, the ending. So if I was to rate this, it might be a 3 and it might be a 4. I think it's a mix of that. But I don't have a solid rating for this because I don't know how to fully comprehend what I've read. I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing because I just don't know. I just don't know. I've never read anything like this. It's the story goes well. It goes really well up until, how many chapters have we got on here? The story is great. We have 17 chapters and an epilogue. And so we have up to about chapter 15 of her being on death row, and we kind of get, okay, she's tried to kill her husband, but then throughout the book we realise that she goes through saying, I'm innocent, I haven't done it. So it's like, okay. And then we kind of get the vibe, like, she explains that she doesn't actually kill her husband, and it's confusing, the ending, because we have her on death row, and then it switches to her being in hospital, and she's just about to be taken off life support, and it's like, what am I reading? I would say that this is potentially one of Freida's weaker books. I was shocked when I read it about some of the things that were going on, because she's on death row, you know, and then she's innocent, and we have this priest who looks like her husband, so we're like, okay, maybe her husband is having an affair with somebody else and he's faked his own death and put her on death row. That was what was going through my head. In my head, the idea was he faked his own death, put her on death row, she's going to die, and he's going to live his life with somebody else. That was what I got. Until when she's just about to die, she kind of hears this beeping, okay, and it's like, what's going on here? And then it switches to, like, the next chapter, and she's no longer in prison, she is in hospital, she's just about to be taken off life support, and it's like, what is going on here? And then there's, I think, the epilogue, which is her in a car accident, or just about to get into a car accident, and she says to her husband, essentially, it's just almost involved in a car crash, and it's like, okay, what am I reading? And I think this book is down to reader interpretation. I think Freida kind of let the audience decide how it ends. Because you have one scene where she's just about to be taken off life support and she feels like she's released and all of that. And then the next scene is her almost being in a car crash and her not actually being on life support. So it was really confusing. This ending definitely was something that I was not expecting. And I don't know if that is a good thing or not. I do like Freida McFadden, and I definitely think that this is not one of my favourites, because I'm just so confused with that. And yeah. So if you enjoyed this, please give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to, you can. If you don't have to. That is fine. Please recommend me any more books that you think that I should read on my Kindle or physical. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.